This is the Old 77 Podcast.
The Ozarks are known for family fun, outdoor adventures, expansive lakes, and majestic views. A show called UFO Witness on the Travel Channel will be highlighting one mysterious Missouri location. The hosts will be exploring the Marley Woods in an episode called Nordics and the Cube.
So this is down by Poplar Bluff in the Mark Twain National Forest.
So south.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's south of St. Louis.
Yeah,
just almost straight south of St. Louis.
They believe a secret UFO hotspot called Marley Woods could be the key to all the peculiar activity.
I've actually seen
Dave-
this episode. It's already been out.
That actually, have you? Perfect.
What's
so
that?
that actually ties in because there's the whole. Have you heard about the UFO incident that happened in Kimmswick, Missouri? That allegedly happened before Roswell.
No, I heard of one that happened in Cape Girardeau.
Cape Girardeau,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I don't think I. Yeah.
Well, it's roughly around the same area.
Yeah.
But they say it was in Kimmswick, Missouri. Like that, there was a whole thing in Kimmswick.
So maybe we're thinking of the same one, and maybe
Yes.
they just call it Cape Girardeau because that's
the
more
the
well-known
closest
city.
population.
That's the closest bigger population.
Yeah, that's a big one, man.
Yeah.
So
you know
yeah-
that we've had this stuff happen in Jeff City, right?
Well, like
Like what?
Documented
Like
UFO landings.
No, I
Like
did not know that.
documented.
No.
Yeah, so in the 1960s. So,
get up closer to that mic. Man. Let's hear that.
I'm going to give you this because my mom was actually could call in and give you the story. She was there.
Oh, no
So
shit.
my grandfather, who was a Marine,
Good.
And he was like a hardcore Marine, like live die Marine, eat his red crowns. He was a Marine, so he actually confronted this with a shotgun. So what happened was my grandparents, my mom grew up on Pierce Street. Pierce Street is over by Riverside Park.
Okay, I was just going to
So
look that up.
Riverside Park is on the bluff above the Missouri River.
I used
Yeah.
to live right off of Pierce Street.
So he lived all the way up top
course
on
he
Pierce
did.
Street on the corner. The house is actually still there. So there was, and so this happened, I believe, in the mid '60s. There was 2 Jefferson City Police Department officers, 1 Missouri State Highway Patrol officer. When our airport had an operator, because it did at the time, they saw it, and 2 school teachers saw this object fly from where the power plant is now.
Okay.
But it wasn't there then, and it actually landed close to where my mom lives. My grandfather, she described it as, and I'll tell you a little more about my grandfather so you can understand how believable it is. My grandmother took my mom, and they hid. My grandfather grabbed his shotgun and as many shells as he could handle and went out his back door because it lit up their entire house like it was the middle of the day. It was midnight.
Oh, Lord. That's
and
cool.
so it landed in an alley kind of behind their house. Even to this day, grass does not grow where this thing landed.
Oh, no shit.
And that was in the 60s.
That's dope.
That house still there. My grandfather was a Marine. He also worked for the state of Missouri. He was a Sunday school teacher. He was a preacher. My grandmother was an organist for Calvary Baptist Church for over 30 years. These were not conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
They didn't do drugs. My grandfather
Good religious
very
people.
Frank. And so for them to tell, like for me to hear that story, there's credence behind it. So my mom was like, this happened to me when I was a kid. I want to know about it. So she went to the library. She hooked the books so hard. She went through something like 40 books, microfilm. And she actually found over 10 people that all corroborated this one night.
Wow.
She knows the exact night. So whenever we talk about aliens, I actually believe in aliens. I believe in UFOs because my mom had an experience. And that's a first person story to me.
Right.
Put me on the big screen, Scotty. You got me up there?
Yeah, man.
Wow, look at that.
So this is from the Missouri MUFON website.
Yeah.
Mutual UFO Network.
MUFON.
So this is we do not have time for me to read this whole thing on the air, but this is a documented UFO landing in Columbia, Missouri in 1973.
Tells you where,
And
weather
it's very
conditions.
in depth. Like it's got the names of all the witnesses and what their jobs were. It looks like it was a man and his 2 kids, 1 daughter and 1 son. And
Do you know the gist of it?
this is the first time.
First time you've
Yeah,
seen it,
because
huh?
when you were talking about the one landing in Jeff City, I tried Googling UFO landing Jeff City. I didn't find anything for Jeff City, but this Columbia example was the first one that popped up. But basically, I think the gist of it is that these 3 people saw it, and it landed, tapering to about 2 feet off the ground.
Actually, it looks like it landed right outside of his house.
Yeah. Kind of like what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
So did your grandpa go running outside with the shotgun
and the light?
Get out here, alien!
Yeah. Well, no, he went out to go fire a shotgun. My grandfather was a sharpshooter.
Yeah. Okay.
So when he was in the Marines, so when he picked up a gun and he aimed it at you,
when was this?
So according to my mom, it was the mid '60s.
Okay, so it flew off and crashed in Roswell.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Shot the pilot.
He did not shoot
Confirmed.
He never got a shot off. So he wanted to, but what he told my mom was when he went out there, he froze and he was not able to move. A trained Marine who came outside with a gun, pointed at something, could not move his fingers.
Said he couldn't move
to pull the trigger.
That's interesting.
And then it disappeared and he was able to move again.
Typical. Seriously,
Yeah.
typical of
Yeah.
people when they come in contact with these things.
Yeah, and he said it was forced. Like it wasn't that he was scared. He couldn't move.
He could not physically move.
Yep.
Thanks for checking out the Old 77. You know, you can also find us on patreon.com/the Old 77 podcast. There you can get exclusive after hours content for Clubhouse members only, and you can also get early access to episodes. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Anchor, anywhere you get podcasts, especially Spotify, where there you can get video of the show.